Well, it's so good to be back with a former Salem colleague who's now left the business. I tell you what, you guys, the one thing that you all have in common, Mr. Secretary, and welcome to the show, first of all, Doug Collins.
Good to see you.
We saw Seb a little while ago.
Yeah.
All of you in this administration have one thing in common. You're masterful communicators. That was clearly a priority for the president.
Well, look, some of us do it better than others. I like to consider I try, but but this is where America needs. And as we've been doing this from VA to start with since I came in, we're doing videos, we're getting the word out because in this world, the other side wants to use fear, innuendo, half discussions. I'm gonna come right out and call it. And when they come at the VA and say you're cutting benefits, you're cutting patient care, I'm gonna call a lie.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. So I think people respond to that. You'd be amazed. We put out some videos, and I've been traveling around and say, I saw your video.
That's awesome.
That's how people communicate these days.
I saw, after that awful accident over the Potomac, again, This doesn't pertain to you, but I thought about Sean Duffy immediately as the new secretary. I mean, here he is just a couple of hours on the job, basically, and then something like that happens.
Yeah.
You got to be nimble.
Yep.
I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen or what's going to come.
Well, you do, and it's an administration that emphasizes that. And I think that's the difference. In the previous administration, none of this happened right here. You didn't do a media road. This was not, even for their own kind, they didn't do it.
No.
And but we're doing it now, and we're going to continue to do it. And I think when you made mention of Sean, I saw that and I said, right person, right job, who cares?
Yep.
And number one, he was there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big difference to start with.
Yes.
He was there. And also from the VA perspective, our veterans, I want them to know me. I want them to see me. I want our veteran employees, I want our VA employees to know who I am. We're going to disagree. We've got a lot of changes that are going on. There's going to be some, painful transitions, but it's all about that veteran. The veteran out there can know that we're protecting their benefits, we're protecting their health care, and we're doing the changes that make it more efficient.
I heard from veterans that things improved markedly in the first Trump term.
Yes.
What happened after, and where are we now?
What happened after is they turned back in, I just call it internal focus. They went back to the VA being the center, not the veteran being the center. And, again, if you have a big government perspective, that's what you're going to do. I don't. I have a government perspective that is for the veteran we're supposed to serve. There's not an agency you're going to talk to today that's constituent is here. The constituent is the taxpayer or the veteran, in my case, the veteran. So we're just moving it back to where, and following the law, Mission Act, which was, and Choice Act, Accountability Act, which allows our veterans to actually go out and get health care in the community if they can't get it through the VA. We're not prideful in the sense that we can only do it in one of our VA centers. VA care is VA care wherever you get it. That's what I want to emphasize, and we're going to have the highest standards wherever they go.
You found, I don't remember how many millions in subscriptions to Politico at the VA, and I always thought if I ever got to talk to you again, that was one of the first things I wanted to ask you. What in the world was hundreds of thousands of dollars in subscriptions to Politico?
I've been in this city for a long time, and I get all the free newsletters. I found out all I need to know with the free newsletter. I told our folks, I said, we just said, look, $178,000, that goes to my veterans. That's not. You can get the free newsletter and see the what I call the happy clappy club of press in D.C. talk to each other.
Yeah.
But you get what you need. Again, it's a matter of focus. If your focus is inside this beltway where you're at today, then you're going to have a different constituency. Those of us who come into this administration, including the president who got elected outside this beltway, we know that America and the world is looking at us, and they're the ones that we need to talk to.
I'll let you run on this question. A lot of veterans obviously listening in today.
Yeah.
What would you have a veteran in this country know today about you and the VA today?
One, I'm one of you. I've been in the Air Force now for 23 years and in the Navy for 2 years. Took my fitness test this morning, as a matter of fact. So I'm about done. But I've been to Iraq. I know what it's like to leave your family. I know what it's like to do your reserve duty, to do your active duty time. And what I want them to know is from the DOD, VA perspective, under the Trump administration, we want everything to work as it should. You serve our country, then you have benefits that you've earned through that. And when you want to take advantage of those, you're going to have an efficient service at the VA to do that. That goes back to recruitment, retention, and then care afterwards. And we're going to be there.
Former podcast host. I shouldn't say former. Are you still doing it or no? Did you give that up? You gave it up?
I don't have enough time today.
Done with the Doug Collins Show. Now he's the Secretary of the Veterans Administration, and we're glad he's there. Doug Collins, great to see you, sir.
Chris, thank you much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, kid.